the powers they don't even know they hold. There's something ancient, something sacred, buried deep within every Scorpio. Not everyone sees it, not everyone should. Because what lives inside a Scorpio is not just personality, it's power. Power that doesn't shout but whispers through silence. Power that doesn't need to be proven, it simply is. And tonight, we're about to open a door that very few even dare to approach. If you've ever felt that you were different, that you sensed things others didn't, carried emotions you couldn't explain or knew truths long before they surfaced, then this message was meant for you. Because there are 9 spiritual powers that only Scorpios possess. Not all of them are visible, not all of them are safe, but all of them are real. And number 6, it's not just a gift. It's a cosmic warning, a psychic alert encoded into your soul that activates before betrayal, loss, or transformation. Most ignore it, but you, Scorpio, you've always felt it, even if you didn't know what it was. So if you're watching this, it's not by accident. You're being called, not by me, not even by this video, but by something far older, far deeper, something your soul remembers. Scorpio, this is your sign. Let's unlock what's been hidden in your shadow all along. And if you're not a Scorpio, stay anyway. Because by the end of this journey, you'll understand why the universe made only a few souls powerful enough to hold what Scorpio was born with. Let's begin. Spiritual power, number 1. The soul mirror, Scorpio's power to reflect the hidden truth. They say most people wear a mask, but what happens when you stand before a Scorpio and that mask melts? That's not imagination, that's not coincidence. That's the first spiritual power Scorpio holds, the soul mirror. Scorpio doesn't just look at you, they see through you. Not in a superficial way, but in a way that reaches beneath your defenses, beneath your stories, straight into the core of who you are. It's why people feel exposed around them, uncomfortable, drawn in, but afraid. Let me tell you a story, the encounter that changed a life. A man once sat across from a Scorpio woman during a business dinner. He had built a reputation for charm. He told people what they wanted to hear, closed every deal with a grin, and never once let his real intentions show. But 5 minutes into dinner, he started sweating. Not because of the conversation, but because of her eyes. She hadn't accused him, hadn't even asked difficult questions. She simply watched. After a long silence, she said quietly, "You're not here to help anyone. You're here to win, even if it costs people everything." He laughed it off. But the next day, the deal collapsed. Weeks later, he confessed that night haunted him. Not because she had power over him, but because for the first time in his life, he was seen. That's the soul mirror. Scorpio becomes the one person in the room who reflects back your own truth. Not the version you show the world, but the one you hide even from yourself. This power is ancient. In esoteric traditions, mirrors weren't tools of vanity, they were portals. They showed spirits, they revealed curses, they reflected not appearance but essence. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, god of the underworld, is a natural carrier of this mirror. Because to see truth, you must walk through shadow. And Scorpio has walked through more shadow than most will in a lifetime. It's why strangers confess things to Scorpios without knowing why liars fumble in their presence, why the guilty avoid their gaze. The soul mirror doesn't expose to punish. It exposes to awaken. Life lesson from this gift. If you're a Scorpio, don't suppress this gift just because others are afraid of it. You were not born to fit into lies. You were born to reflect truth even when it's uncomfortable. But here's the key. Use this mirror with compassion, because not everyone is ready to see what you do. And if you've ever been broken by someone who couldn't handle being seen, understand. They weren't rejecting you. They were rejecting the part of themselves they weren't ready to face. You are not the wound, Scorpio. You are the mirror that reveals it. And that is one of the most powerful spiritual responsibilities on Earth. Spiritual power number 2, the emotional alchemist, turning pain into power. Where most people run from pain, Scorpio walks directly into it. Not out of recklessness, but because deep inside Scorpio knows something the rest of the zodiac forgets. Pain is not the end, pain is the door. This is the second spiritual power that only Scorpios possess the ability to transform raw, unfiltered emotion into spiritual strength, psychic awareness, and soul power. While others numb out, Scorpio feels it all. They don't drown in emotion, they distill it. They transmute it. They make it useful. That's what an emotional alchemist does. Let me show you what that looks like in real life. A Scorpio woman once lost the love of her life to betrayal. Most would crumble, fall apart, shut down. But she didn't. She withdrew not into depression, but into transformation. For 6 months, she didn't date, didn't distract, didn't mask the grief. She meditated with it, she cried into it, she confronted every part of herself that loved, feared, trusted, and broke. And when she returned, she was no longer just someone who had been betrayed, she was a guide. She became a therapist, not because she wanted a career change, but because her pain had become her compass. Her heartbreak had been reforged into wisdom. This is emotional alchemy, and only Scorpio has the spiritual constitution to carry it through fully. Esoterically, this is the power of the phoenix, a sacred symbol tied to Scorpio in ancient mystery schools. The phoenix does not avoid fire, it enters it, and in doing so, it is reborn. Scorpio lives many lives within one lifetime, and often the fire that burns them the most becomes the fire that forges their next evolution. That breakup, that trauma, that moment of soul collapse. To others, it's a dead end. To Scorpio, it's a forge. It's why survivors are often Scorpios. Why addicts who transform and heal become spiritual teachers, and their birth chart almost always carries Pluto's mark. So what's the lesson here? If you're a Scorpio, stop apologizing for your depth. You weren't made to be fine. You were made to feel fully, because only in feeling deeply can you access this rare kind of wisdom. And if others say you're too intense, remember, they were taught to fear the fire. You were born to master it. Scorpio, you are the alchemist of the zodiac. You don't escape the wound, you turn it into the very source of your spiritual light. Life lesson from this gift: the emotional alchemist. Pain is not your enemy. Numbness is. In a world where people are taught to escape their feelings, Scorpio, were born to understand them, master them, and rise through them. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You are powerful because you feel deeply. You don't need to avoid the fire. The fire is your birthright. Here's the truth. The universe doesn't give emotional intensity to the weak. It gives it to the ones who are meant to transform it into something divine. So the next time life hands you heartache, disappointment, or despair, don't curse it. Ask what it came to burn away and what it came to reveal within you. Because every time you alchemize your pain, you don't just heal yourself. You illuminate the path for others who thought the darkness would never end. Your scars are sacred. They are not signs of defeat. They are signs of initiation. And you, Scorpio, are the soul who turns suffering into spiritual gold. Spiritual power number 3. The silent summoner. Scorpio's energy speaks louder than words. Some people command a room with their voice. Scorpio commands it with their presence. They don't need to raise their voice. They don't need to shout. In fact, the quieter they are, the more powerful their energy becomes. This is Scorpio's third spiritual power, the silent summoner, the ability to summon, attract, repel, and shift energy without ever saying a word. There's a reason people feel Scorpio's energy before they even enter the room. There's a reason others glance at them and feel instantly pulled or instantly nervous. It's not charisma, it's not attitude, it's spiritual weight. Let me explain. In spiritual traditions around the world, from shamanic rituals to Taoist inner alchemy, there's a concept known as presence or field strength. This is the energetic field someone carries through their aura. It comes not from appearance or intellect, but from what the soul has survived. Scorpio's aura has depth because they have descended into places few dare to go. Heartbreak, grief, betrayal, the death of illusions, spiritual ego deaths. And because of that descent, their frequency becomes charged like a magnet. This is why a Scorpio can walk into a silent room and make people sit up straighter. It's why people who lie get fidgety around them. It's why they can attract people or completely shut someone down without saying a single sentence. Their silence isn't empty. It's full of knowing, of watching, of layered meaning. One Scorpio man once told me, "I used to wonder why people confessed their secrets to me in elevators or avoided eye contact in meetings. Then I realized it wasn't what I said, it was what I carried." This spiritual gift is not something you learn, it's something you become. And the more Scorpio purifies their inner world by facing truth, releasing old ego-shedding illusions, the stronger this energetic command becomes. Because real power doesn't come from control, it comes from alignment, and Scorpio's silence often reveals how aligned they truly are. Life lesson from this gift, the silent summoner. You don't have to prove anything. You only need to be what you are fully honestly without dilution. Your presence is a frequency. It speaks before your lips do. It protects you. It challenges others. It clears space. But most of all, it summons what's meant for you. So trust it. If someone avoids you after you've said nothing, they're not reacting to your words. They're reacting to your truth. If someone's drawn to you without explanation, it's because your soul is calling theirs. Scorpio, don't underestimate the silent ripple your energy creates. The universe listens when you speak, but it moves when you're silent. You are not here to shout. You are here to shift the room just by being in it. And that is spiritual power. Spiritual power, number 4, the Shadow Master, Scorpio's gift to embrace what others deny. There's a part of every human being that hides, the part that feels envy, that carries guilt, that remembers shame, that fears being unlovable. Most people spend their lives avoiding it, burying it, denying it, pretending it doesn't exist. But not Scorpio. Scorpio was born with a spiritual power most people don't even want to admit exists. The power to face, embrace, and master the shadow. They are the Shadow Master, and that makes them spiritually dangerous to every illusion around them. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is the unconscious, the denied, repressed parts of ourselves. The deeper we push it down, the more it controls us from behind the scenes. Scorpio's soul path is unique because it doesn't just acknowledge the shadow, it walks into it. This is why Scorpio people are so misunderstood. They're not negative, they're not dark. They're honest about what others pretend not to feel. They can sit in a room and sense the tension everyone else is ignoring. They can love someone fully while still naming the hidden wounds in the relationship. They can grieve rage break and not run from it. Because Scorpio knows you cannot transform what you refuse to face. Let me tell you a story. A Scorpio woman I worked with had a pattern of attracting emotionally unavailable men. Instead of blaming the world or writing it off as bad luck, she did something radical. She went into the shadow. She began journaling her childhood wounds. She sought therapy not to be fixed, but to understand. She asked herself the hardest question of all. Why do I think I have to earn love that should be freely given? Through months of darkness, she emerged different, not just healed, but recalibrated. She stopped chasing love, and it started chasing her. That's not psychology, that's shadow alchemy. And Scorpio was built for it. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the lord of the underworld, not a punishing god, but a revealing one. Pluto doesn't destroy to harm, he destroys to reveal what was buried. And Scorpio, like Pluto, has the power to help others do the same, to hold space for someone else's pain, darkness, and trauma without judgment, because they've gone there too. This is what makes Scorpios the most powerful healers, coaches, therapists, and spiritual teachers, not because they have perfect lives, but because they have lived through the dark and came back with the light. Life lesson from this gift: the Shadow Master. You don't have to be afraid of your darkness. You are not broken because you have wounds. You are powerful because you are willing to look at them. Every scar you carry isn't a flaw, it's a door. And by walking through that door, you claim the parts of your soul that others have abandoned. Don't let the world shame you for being honest about your shadow. You weren't born to be surface level. You were born to be deep enough to face what others can't. And when you do, you become a mirror for others to find their way through the dark too. Scorpio, you don't just survive the shadow, you master it. And through that mastery, you become dangerous to illusions, but sacred to truth. Spiritual power number 5. The energy sensor, Scorpio's gift to read the invisible. There's a conversation happening in every room that no one hears. It's not spoken, it's not written. It moves through body language, glances, hesitations, and even through complete silence. Most people miss it, but Scorpio doesn't. Because Scorpio possesses the spiritual gift of the energy sensor, the ability to feel what others don't say, to read energy fields, and to detect emotional and psychic shifts long before they become obvious. While others listen to words, Scorpio listens to frequencies. This is why Scorpios often say things like, "I don't trust them, I don't know why yet. I felt something change before they even spoke. I can tell when something's off even if everyone else says it's fine." They're not being paranoid, they're reading the room with their soul. In spiritual traditions, this is called clairsentience, clear feeling. And Scorpio doesn't just visit this gift, they live in it. They pick up on tension, manipulation, jealousy, desire, deception, even unspoken love, all without anyone uttering a word. And the wild part, they often pick it up before the other person is even aware of what they're feeling themselves. Let me show you how this plays out. A Scorpio man once walked into a company meeting. Everyone was smiling. The numbers looked great. The manager was giving an optimistic speech. But the Scorpio leaned over to his colleague and said, "Something's not right. He's preparing to leave." His colleague laughed. "What are you talking about? He just renewed his contract." 2 weeks later, that manager resigned without warning, and it turned out he'd been planning his exit for months. No signs, no emails. But Scorpio knew because Scorpio felt the emotional detachment in his energy long before it showed up in words. This power can feel overwhelming at times. That's why Scorpios often need solitude, not because they dislike people, but because they're constantly absorbing information others aren't even aware they're projecting. Scorpio is like a spiritual radar scanning for energetic shifts, emotional disturbances, and even ancestral echoes. And when they learn to trust this gift, not second-guess it, they become exceptional protectors, intuitive leaders, and truth detectors in a world that thrives on masks. Life lesson from this gift: the energy sensor. Don't let people convince you that your gut is just your imagination. You weren't born to live in blindness. You were born to feel the unspoken currents of the world, to sense what others miss. Yes, it's exhausting at times. Yes, it can feel lonely. But your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's your wisdom in motion. When you feel someone's off, they are. When your body tightens around a place or person, listen. When you feel that sudden urge to walk away, it's not fear, it's intuition trying to protect you. You don't need physical evidence to honor what your energy already knows. Scorpio, your spiritual radar is one of the most powerful tools on Earth. Use it, trust it, and never again doubt it. Spiritual power number 6. The cosmic warning. Scorpio's psychic alert before destiny. Shifts. Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine before something bad happened, even though nothing seemed wrong? Have you ever suddenly lost interest in a person, a place, or a plan, only to find out later that it would have harmed you? If you're Scorpio, the answer is probably yes. Because this is one of your most intense and most mystical spiritual powers, the cosmic warning. This is not fear. This is not anxiety. This is a psychic pulse from the universe itself delivered to Scorpio's nervous system as an intuitive signal. Step back. Something's about to break. This power doesn't come with an explanation. It doesn't always come with proof, but it always comes with truth. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of hidden knowledge, destruction, and spiritual rebirth. And because of this Plutonian connection, Scorpio's soul is tuned to energy shifts long before they become visible. This means that when betrayal is approaching, when a soul contract is ending, or when danger is gathering behind the veil, Scorpio feels it. They may not know the details, but they know something is about to collapse. Let me tell you a story. A Scorpio woman was about to sign a business deal that looked perfect on paper. The numbers made sense. The client was charming. The team was excited, but the night before signing, she couldn't sleep. Her chest was tight. Her dreams were filled with symbols, wolves' fog, a cracked mirror. She didn't ignore it. Instead of going to the meeting, she asked for a delay, no explanation. Within 72 hours, the client was exposed in a financial fraud investigation. Had she signed, her company would have gone under. She didn't have a spreadsheet. She didn't have a red flag. She had a warning from somewhere beyond the physical. This is the cosmic warning. It comes as a sudden need to leave a relationship, a sharp discomfort in a conversation that seems fine, a dream that lingers with symbolic urgency, a physical sensation that screams, "Get out now." And the more Scorpio listens, the stronger it becomes. This power is not to be taken lightly. It is the universe whispering through the Scorpion's spine. Life lesson from this gift, the cosmic warning. Trust your timing even when others call it irrational. Trust your body even when your mind can't explain it. You are not paranoid. You are plugged into something ancient, unseen, and deeply wise. And that connection was given to you for a reason. You are not here to walk blindly into chaos. You are here to sense it before it comes and pivot toward your highest path. And remember this, when the universe speaks through your discomfort, it's not trying to scare you. It's trying to protect your soul from a storm you can't yet see. Scorpio, this power is sacred. It has already saved you more times than you know. And now it's time to stop doubting it, because when you listen to your inner warning, you don't just avoid destruction, you step into divine alignment. Spiritual power, number 7. The soul contract decoder. Scorpio's knowing of who is meant and why. Some people walk into your life like a breeze. They come and go, barely leaving a mark. But others, they arrive like a storm. They shake your world. They trigger you, awaken you, haunt your dreams, stir your soul. Scorpio always knows the difference. Why? Because Scorpio possesses the spiritual gift of the soul contract decoder, the ability to sense which people are not just part of this lifetime, but echoes from another. In soul-centered astrology and metaphysical teachings, we are all believed to carry contracts, energetic agreements made between souls before birth. These contracts are not always about love. Some are about pain. Some are about karmic closure. Some are about spiritual awakening through deep, intense connection. Most people are unaware of these contracts until life forces them to confront them. But Scorpio feels them sometimes within seconds. They can meet someone and know instantly, this isn't new, this is ancient. They don't need logic. They don't need background. Their soul simply remembers. Let me tell you a story. A Scorpio man met a woman on a flight. They sat side by side for only 2 hours. But by the time the plane landed, both were in tears, not from sadness, but from a feeling neither could explain. They had just met, but it felt like they were saying goodbye, or maybe meeting again after centuries apart. They never dated. They never even exchanged numbers. But for years, both would say it was the most spiritually charged connection of their lives. Scorpio wasn't confused by this. He knew that was a soul contract, a brief reconnection, a reminder from beyond. This gift makes Scorpios seem overly intense or emotionally fast to others. But it's not about being intense. It's about being tuned in to contracts that others don't realize are unfolding. It's why Scorpios often say, "I don't know why I feel so drawn to them. There's something unfinished between us. I can't explain it, but I know this means more than it looks." It's not obsession, it's recognition. Life lesson from this gift, the soul contract decoder. Don't doubt your sense of connection. Just because something doesn't make sense on paper doesn't mean it's not written in spirit. Some people are lessons, some are mirrors, some are karmic completions, and some are soul triggers meant to break you open. Scorpio, your ability to see beyond the surface of relationships is not a flaw. It's your path to healing lifetimes of unfinished work. But remember, just because a soul contract is strong, doesn't mean it's meant to last forever. Some contracts are meant to awaken you, not stay with you. So trust what you feel, honor what the soul knows, and release what the soul has completed even if the heart still holds on. You weren't meant to live an ordinary love story. You were meant to walk through divine connections with ancient meaning. Spiritual power, number 8. The spiritual gatekeeper. Scorpio's power to shield and protect energetically. Not all warriors wear armor. And not all protectors speak loudly. Some shield you without ever telling you. They absorb the hit, they deflect the harm, they guard you spiritually while the world remains unaware. That is Scorpio. Because Scorpio holds the spiritual power of the gatekeeper, the unseen guardian who intuitively senses danger, energy attacks toxic fields, and soul-level threats not only to themselves, but to others. There's a reason why people feel safer in Scorpio's presence, even children, even animals. There's a reason why manipulators lose confidence around them and why spiritual parasites shrink in their aura. Scorpio doesn't just see truth, they shield truth, protect it, defend it, even when no one else knows it's under attack. This is a power born not of ego, but of spiritual service. I once knew a Scorpio woman who worked as a nurse in an oncology ward. Patients would ask for her even if she wasn't assigned to their care. One man, dying and non-verbal for weeks, opened his eyes and whispered for the first time, "You're the one who holds the dark back." She wept not because it surprised her, but because she had felt it too. Every time she entered that hospital, she prayed silently for protection over every soul. That's the gatekeeper, unseen, but felt. This power also explains why Scorpio can walk into a room and instantly feel tension, malice, or energetic heaviness, even when everyone is smiling. It's not emotional sensitivity, it's spiritual vigilance. Scorpio's soul was forged in places where not all energies had good intentions. Because of this, they carry a natural repellent to spiritual deception. When something is off, Scorpio acts often by removing themselves, setting boundaries, or shielding others they care about. They don't always explain, they don't always confront, but behind the scenes, Scorpio is often the one holding the invisible line. Life lesson from this gift. The spiritual gatekeeper, you are not crazy for being selective with your energy. You are not cold for walking away without a scene. You are not controlling for sensing danger others can't see. You are a protector of sacred space both for yourself and for those who don't know they're under attack. This is a gift, but it comes with a weight, so be sure to care for yourself as deeply as you care for others. Cleanse your energy, rest your spirit, because even gatekeepers need shelter. And remember, you don't have to fight loudly to protect powerfully. Your very presence can be a wall between light and darkness. Scorpio, you are the quiet shield, the last one standing when everyone else has fled. You don't just survive energy warfare, you guard the gates others never even knew existed. Spiritual power number 9, the rebirth initiator, Scorpio's power to awaken transformation in others. Some people inspire you, some encourage you. But Scorpio rebuilds you, not by telling you what to do, not by fixing you, but by activating something dormant inside you, something raw, powerful, and waiting to awaken. This is the final and perhaps most sacred gift that only Scorpio possesses, the rebirth initiator. Scorpio doesn't just transform themselves. They create the conditions where others even unwillingly must confront who they are and who they're meant to become. You've seen it. People meet a Scorpio and suddenly end toxic relationships, leave old jobs, confront their addictions, begin their healing journey, awaken to truth they have denied for years. And Scorpio didn't force it. They just were there as a mirror, a challenge, a spiritual spark. It's because Scorpio carries death and rebirth energy, not physical death, but ego death, old self death, pattern death. And through that death comes a soul resurrection. A Scorpio man I once knew dated a woman for only 3 months. The relationship didn't last long, but years later, she said, that was the relationship that ended my old life. He held me to such a high standard, I could no longer pretend I was okay with mediocrity. After him, I stopped settling in love, in purpose, in self-worth. Scorpio didn't rescue her. He simply reflected who she wasn't yet, but could be if she was willing to rise. That's the mark of a rebirth initiator. They don't hand you wings. They create the fire that makes you grow them. This is why Scorpio relationships, romantic, platonic, even fleeting, often feel life-changing. They are not always smooth, but they are always meaningful. Because Scorpio doesn't allow the soul to stay asleep. Their energy, their gaze, their presence, all of it triggers activation. Life lesson from this gift. The rebirth initiator, don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You were never meant to be easy. You were meant to be transformational. Some people will resist you. Some will walk away. Some will even blame you because awakening hurts. But you are not here to please. You are here to provoke rebirth. So don't apologize for the fire you bring. Some souls would stay stuck forever if not for your spark. And while you may not always be loved for it, you will always be remembered. Because you didn't just touch someone's heart, you changed their soul's direction. Scorpio, you are the storm before the stillness, the chaos before the clarity, the fire before the flight. You don't just rise, you make others rise with you. Conclusion. Scorpio's soul was never meant to be ordinary. So, now we've seen it. 9 spiritual powers, 9 sacred truths, 9 pieces of a Scorpio soul that most of the world will never understand but always feel. And if you've made it here, Scorpio, then deep down you already knew. You've lived it, you've felt it, you've questioned it, doubted it, fought with it, but you've also survived it, and that's exactly why you carry it with such silent strength. Let's remember them together. You are the soul mirror, showing others who they really are. The emotional alchemist, transforming pain into inner gold. The silent summoner, shifting energy without a word. The shadow master, walking where others fear to look. The energy sensor, reading the invisible before it manifests. The cosmic warning, hearing the universe's whispers of protection. The soul contract decoder, recognizing karmic bonds across lifetimes. The spiritual gatekeeper, shielding the vulnerable from harm. And finally, the rebirth initiator, awakening transformation in everyone you touch. These are not talents, these are not tricks. These are the marks of an ancient soul, one that has walked through lifetimes of depth, death, and resurrection. That soul is you. Some people will never see the full extent of your power. Some will misunderstand it. Some will be afraid of it. But you must never abandon it. Because this world needs what you carry. It needs truth, not comfort. It needs vision, not illusion. It needs those who don't just survive darkness, but guide others through it. And no one does that better than you. So the next time someone says you're too much, too intense, too private, too suspicious, too deep, smile, because you know something they don't. You weren't made to live on the surface. You were made to dive into the soul, yours and everyone else's. And that Scorpio is your divine calling. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you of who you really are, then share this with someone who's forgotten their own power. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Path to Buddha Wisdom, because this is where we speak the truth you've always felt but couldn't put into words. You're not alone. You're not too much. You're exactly what the universe designed for times like these. Until next time, Scorpio, protect your power, walk your path, and rise again as only you can.